Hey, this is basically for everybody that ever chooses to watch any of the videos I put up and listen to what I have to say that has any value for you. But I thought I was gonna go grab something to eat and come back here and lie under the tree and enjoy the rest of the day, enjoying the energies and the changes that are taking place that are going in the right direction. But while I was gone, I listened to a couple of videos. One of the things that I do is I measure the speed of the morphogenetic field structure for those that are sort of up with me on all this, right? Which is essentially the speed of the data transfer that's taking place between all the computer terminals, which is really what you are in a way, even though I recognize I've said this is a qualifier. You start with spirit. Spirit leaves the body. I could have left 2 years ago. I realized I wasn't done here yet, so it's not time to go. So I'm still here. But I thought what was important is because of the couple videos that I listened to, right? One of them was Jason Whitlock, who has a channel called Outkick. He used to be a sports journalist. I believe he was a football athlete. I believe he was in college. He's a very fair-minded, a very, how would I put this, balanced in his views, okay? He uses a ton of logic, common sense, if you will, to try and break down what he believes is in the truth. He's essentially what I would call, he's not a, how do I put this? He's not a mouthpiece, okay, for the New World Order, if you want to think of it that way, okay? He speaks his mind, okay? He's one of the old school journalists, which means I call it as I see it. So how you see it is based on the perception that you have of the universe you believe you live in. That's your belief system, okay? And we can actually measure that in energy, and we can also measure it by how you behave towards others. And that is precisely one of the things I wanted to sort of break down real quick and condense it to simplify it. And so the two things I was going to cover here was one video that I watched with Basis Project, which is Miles Johnson on YouTube, who was talking to Julie Phelps. And because of the information and the knowledge that she has, for example, about the SSP, which is a secret space program, right? Talking about different factions who have different interests, the Illuminati families, the 13 bloodlines, if you will, that represent the Illuminati, the non-satanic order, the satanic order, who the Dracos are, who the Nazis are, other groups, if you will, corporations, the military-industrial complex, and sort of trying to get a fix for who's who, what are the relationships between the who's who, why things are changing the way that they are, the beings that I'm familiar with, okay, such as Pleiadians, Arcturians, etc., if you will. But what it all boils down to, okay, is how do I put this? Is how do you perceive the universe that you live in, and what do you do with your energy? Okay, what are you learning? What is the speed in which you're learning? Okay, so we can measure that. Remember, all the other videos that I did has to do with measuring, right? So, for example, when I'm with her, the girl on the planet, I communicate with her through my heart. So a lot of what I learn through who I am, which is through her, okay, that I share with others, and everything that I do is to be in alignment with her because I use my heart, which is connected through her heart, if you will, in which I impart to others what I've learned through her, to be sort of a rep, okay? Which simply means that a lot of times, a lot of the things that I share are the things that she shares with me as a conduit. The things that I learn through simply observing what she does, being a part of who she is, being a reflection of who she is, okay? Which is an energy service provider, giving away free energy, having fun, enjoying yourself, writing your own story, what it means to be free to do that, right? Not holding ourselves captive to what others' opinions are, what other people's perceptions are, because that's their free will. That's their journey. They have every right to be able to express themselves however they want, provided that they do no harm. Now that's pretty simple, because if they're causing harm to somebody else, that causes pain and suffering. Okay, who wants to experience that? That's a predator. Okay, love is the first law, which means do no harm. So when you're in alignment with first law, which is what love is, which is love is a law, everything else is pretty simple after that, don't you think? So Jason Whitlock was, I want to make sure I don't forget this because I can always go back to him. But there's always a reason why certain things all of a sudden pop up or I become aware of, because it's in alignment with the information that is now being shared in the morphogenetic field structure, because we know the direction we're headed. There's a guy named Lucid Dreamer. He's got a fair amount of followers. He has a channel called Truth and Integrity. I forget his name. Thomas, that's right. Sometimes I'll listen to see what he has to say, because let's face it, you keep your friends close, your enemies closer. Okay, which is, again, data collection, right? So it's sort of like you already know on your timeline the reason that you're collecting the data, or you're experiencing what it is that you're experiencing, for the reasons that I explain and share what I do on here. Okay? So, I noticed, and I didn't even have to listen to him. I just simply saw a title that popped up, Lucid Dreamer, The Dangers of Technology. So that goes all the way back to my childhood. Okay, which is like, if we have technology and we're 50 million years in the future, this is just an example. And that's because the nature of our spirit, which is what love and service to others is, and when you're free to be able to use the energy that you are, using imagination, creativity with so much love that you have, and you can imagine what it is that we can create, right? Well, things that we create are for the benefit of everybody in the cosmos. So imagine a demon gets a hold of our technology, what they can do with it. Big difference, huh? So you can imagine if they had the ability to go into the future, see the technology that's there, hijack it, find a way to go back in time and use it here. I'm just giving you an example. So when I realized as a child that they use us as a source because they're lower density, okay, to use the technology they have access to get to higher density, take over more of what they can't love. That's the danger of technology, okay? You teach a demon how to build a robot, what do you think he's going to do with it? You teach a demon how to build a cyborg and a cybernet, what do you think they're going to do with it? That's a known. Okay? So we have to be running a faster dial set. We got to be running a faster speed than they do. They get caught up with us, what happens? Collapse. So when Tanith the Silver Legion talks about them being universe killers, fuck yeah they are. So we got to take their technology away from them, don't we? Yes. Because they use it to destroy what love creates, which is us. They destroy what we create. Okay? They're not in alignment with nature. They're not in alignment with the natural vibration of things. I heard on the video just a little while ago with Julie Phelps talking about all these different factions, talking about how in the higher dimensions they don't have political systems. Because when you are a first law nation Indian, or if you're first law, which means you are love as a law, I don't need a political body to tell me how to live my house or how to behave, which means I don't need a parent. Okay? Because I can do whatever I want, wherever I want to do it, because the energy that I use to be who I am, okay, is always going to be used for the benefit of everybody. Okay? That means you're grown up in the cosmos, because the amount of light that we attract to go faster, which means our spiritual light body, okay, we're energy givers. We're giving away energy. That's called evolution. That's how you graduate. That's simple. They haven't learned how to become what that is yet. That's why this is lower creation. Things are different here. So anyway, Jason Whitlock was talking about how, for example, Black Lives Matter apparently is scrubbing a lot of their rhetoric, which means essentially how they perceive the universe they live in. They want everybody else to be what they are. You know, burn down America because, you know, even though we can all agree that there are things about the history of America that isn't pleasant, slavery, et cetera, right? Okay, we all know that. But what never seems to get filtered in all this content is there's a lot of truth that gets left out of that. Okay, they don't want to talk about androids, soulless clones, cloning mills, everything they're doing down below ground, how advanced the universe actually is in technology, how to get from point A to point B in a Milky Way galaxy, what it means to teleport. Okay, they don't want you to learn any of those kinds of things, because then you're going to want to. Well, you have to be grown up enough before that kind of technology should be in your hands. Otherwise, you end up doing what demons do. So there is a natural order of things. When you become what love is in living spirit, then you naturally use the energy that you are to do what? Love and service to others. That's why this is a classroom. So one of the things Jason Whitlock, I noticed, was talking about is he's talking about how he's going back and forth between those who are journalists who work in the sports media and how they're basically going back and forth between, this is what I feel, well, this is what I feel. You're attacking me. Okay, so now he has to explain and defend his own free expression against somebody who doesn't agree with what he's saying. What is that doing? Creates conflict. There's a reason why they do that. Continue the narrative of disharmony. Do these people not know how to live in peace? You're free to express your opinion all you want. I may not agree with it, but it's okay. In fact, I will defend with my life and my soul your ability to have the free will to say whatever you want, provided you do no harm. So one of the things that I notice that happens, particularly when I get into conversation with a lot of people, is if I start sharing more information that allows them to be aware of more stuff that is held within that light, they shut it off. It's like they don't want to learn. Which means now all of a sudden they're moving outside the program, outside what's been held in their unconscious memory that they operate off of. Wait, I don't want my reality to change. I become aware of a bigger universe and how that all works. I don't want to know that. That's a threat. How'd that happen? Since when did people stop wanting to learn new information? Since when is data a threat? Risk perception. This is where we get into programmed units, non-programmed units, units that are still have an open mind, which means they're willing to listen. Hey, wow, I just met somebody from another dimension, and they're sharing with me how it works up there. Cool, how do I get there? See what I mean? No, I don't want to know about that. I live in a small world. I operate off of my memory, and everything that's in my memory that I operate off there was put in there by somebody else so I can run their program. I don't know what it means to be free. I don't want to be free because I'm comfortable running this program. I'm perfectly happy being a slave for the system. I do obey the master. Anything the master says, I obey. I'm happy being a slave. That's exactly what Aldous Huxley said. So believe it or not, because there are other factions, as Julie Phelps would say on the Basis Project, that rely on that. They know perfectly well how to program people. It's like, here, put the information there and then plug them in like a chatty Cathy doll, or a cyborg, or an android. That's how it works. So one of the things that I've noticed more than anything else is the speed transfer, the rate at which information is passing between computer terminals, which is all of us, really, okay, receivers and transmitters, stereo sound receivers and stereo transmitters of communication, right? Things are speeding up. The information's speeding up. People becoming more aware. That means that the old world, we're going bye-bye. Because at some point, people are going to be going, hey, wait a second, I didn't know this before, now I know this. So we're dissolving a lot of that stuff. That's because there's a lot of light in here. Okay? The light already won this. Okay? So anyway, I'll leave you with that. Have a great day. I love you all. Be good to yourselves. To thine own self be true, remember? To thine own self be true. To thine own self be true. Oh yeah, one last thing. I got a pop-up from old Janis Joplin. When I was growing up in the 60s, when I was a teenager, I remember Janis Joplin. There used to be I guess you would call it a nightclub in Huntington Beach, California, down by the Huntington Beach Pier, called the Golden Bear. Okay? No relation to White Bear Clan. My clan. and they had an album called Cheap Thrills and a song called A Little Piece of My Heart, Take Another Little Piece of My Heart. Now, in one regard, if you go look at all the groups in the 60s and look at who their parents were and the relationship they have with the intelligence agencies like the CIA, the DIA, MI6, all that, right? NSA. Wow, they got a relationship with all these intelligence agencies. You find out from like for instance, Jim Morrison's dad. Then you plug into that Laurel Canyon, and I've been to Laurel Canyon and used to party with some of these folks. That's a whole nother story how that happened and why that happened with me. But then you have the United States Air Force, which is known as Wonderland. Like Alice in Wonderland, Looking Glass. Okay, so anyway, when you put together why a lot of this came out, why drugs came out, why the groups came out, if you look at a lot of the lyrics of all these groups, even Rush in particular, for example, their song Subdivisions, they're mocking you. Okay? They're laughing at you through their music. Okay? Much like George Carlin used to do when he put the mirror up. So he used comedy to expose you. So you laugh at yourselves. So it's like everybody in the audience knows this is true. The same thing as the music groups are mocking you and say, we're in charge and we're in control. Take another little piece of my heart. If it makes you happy. That's what it says in that song. Take a little piece of my heart. That's what they do. They're telling you what they do through their music. That's disclosure. Subdivisions actually gives you the physics. Then there's a flip side to that. Some of that music actually makes you want to dance in spirit. What's that song, Magic? The Girl with a Magic Heart? Makes you want to dance. Stuart Copeland, who's the drummer of Police. His father was CIA. Okay. What do? They collect data on everybody. What for? So they can know what you're doing. That's called risk perception. They live in fear. What? What they can't control. What they can't love, which is themselves. So if they can't love themselves because they can't run a love vibration, they certainly can't broadcast any love everywhere they go, can they? So they're certainly not an energy service provider. So what did they learn while they were here? Put this all what I call full circle of life. Spin that through the toilet. Spin that through the vortex. Spin all that data. See how all that data relates to all the other data that I've shared. See if you can put all that data into some context in which we begin to explain our causality of why we experience what we do down here. It is a classroom. See, a lot of students down here, huh? From all over the place. We can learn from everybody that's here, can't we? Including the girl on the planet. That's who I hang out with. I like to learn through big, powerful spirits. How'd you get so big to run that much energy? Okay. Basic logic. I grew up with the first son. Know what I mean? Jelly bean. Have a great day. Bye now.